Hey everyone! If you're like me, those perimenopause symptoms are driving you crazy. Well, I've got a little help for you. All you need to do is go to my midlifewithcourage.com website, and a little box is going to pop up that's going to ask you if you'd like to get my free ebook called Balancing Your Hormones. It's a short little guide with tips that you can use throughout the day, super easy, to help you balance out those hormones through the things that you do. So check it out, midlifewithcourage.com. Now let's get back to the show. You are listening to Midlife with Courage. This is where women in midlife come for inspiration, motivation, and sometimes a little education to help them flourish after 40. Don't forget to hit that follow or subscribe button to make sure you don't miss an episode. Now let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Midlife with Courage. I am Kim Benoy, your host. I'm so happy to have you here, and I'm also very happy to have my guest here with me today. Her name is Emma Lyons. Welcome to the podcast, Emma.
Thank you so much for having me, Kim. Great to be here.
Emma is a trauma-informed healer, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. Let's just first have you introduce yourself, Emma. Tell us where in the world you are and what you're doing.
I'm in Mexico at the moment. I'm originally from Ireland. And what I do, like you say, I work with mostly women and I help them to break up with this shaming voice that so many women have internalized. And I work with a lot of women professionals, with a lot of women who are entrepreneurs, because what I've noticed is that shame is the kind of source code. And this, I call it an inner narcissist because I realized that's what I had going on.
Hmm.
And yeah, I help people really break up with that shaming voice, recognize that it's not yours, and take their power back from that thing.
I love that. That fits in so well with what our message is here on Midlife with Courage. So, first, before we get into that, can you tell us about a time when you felt courageous or you showed courage?
Well, I went out to live in different countries. I'm in Mexico now, so just kind of deciding to leave situations that aren't healthy for you, even though
Oh.
you don't have all the answers, even though you don't know exactly what's going to happen, but knowing that you need to move out of a toxic situation. I was living at home for a while with my parents, kind of in an interim period, and I started getting really depressed, and I realized that I just needed to get out of that situation. I just made the move. I just decided to go because that's what I needed. I needed a complete reset. And I know a lot of people wouldn't do that, but
Yeah.
sometimes you've got to take that leap of faith, not knowing where it's going to land, but just trusting.
Right, right. One of my previous guests, this was a while ago, said you jump and the net will appear.
Yeah, it can if you have enough trust, definitely. And
Yeah.
yeah, the problem is that people take a leap and then they get really scared and anxious and they start, and then the net starts to disappear a little bit. So we've got
Hmm.
to keep that trust and keep that faith in ourselves, really, that we
Right.
can handle no matter what happens. And that's what we've got to trust ourselves first of all. Because if we don't trust ourselves, we can't trust anyone else. That's where it really starts.
Mm. Love that. So, how did you come to this? Tell us your story. Where did this all start?
Well, I mean, I was on a path to becoming, I still have a master's degree in human rights, and I also studied law as well as languages, and I was going to become a human rights lawyer. And then I realized that it just wasn't a fit, that I was kind of struggling my way to do this thing that just wasn't aligned, basically.
Hmm.
So I left that and I had what I call a quarter life crisis. It's kind of like a midlife crisis, but earlier. And I was like, oh my God, who am I? I have no purpose. My life's a mess. I'm a complete failure. Anyone recognize any of those thoughts?
Hello.
I was looking for answers and looking for healing for myself. And I started looking into healing modalities and energy healing and yoga. And those things really helped me. And I did courses to learn how to do it myself because I thought, oh, if I learn how to do it, then I'll be able to help myself. And it turned out that I had a natural flair for this kind of work and I loved it. And I was like, yes, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But
Mhm.
when it came to actually putting myself out there and being visible and showing up, I had so many blocks,
Mm.
all the fears, all the visibility doubts, all the self-sabotage. Don't ask me which one, all of them. I had all of them. And no matter what I did, I couldn't really move the needle on it. So, and then what happens is you just feel worse and worse about yourself. It feeds that fear, feeds that, insecurity. And it wasn't until really I was doing lots of healing work on myself, but it wasn't until I realized the kind of dysfunctional nature of my own family. Because I all this time I thought I had so much internalized shame, Kim. And
Mhm.
even from a young child, I had regular kind of suicidal ideation and a lot of shaming thoughts, like very, very deeply ingrained shaming thoughts. And I realized much later in life that my mom is a covert narcissist, and I was the scapegoat within that family role. And this very typically, at the scapegoat, you take on all of this, you internalize shame, you take it all in. Oh, I'm bad, I'm ugly, I'm stupid. And you basically become the landfill for the family's unprocessed trauma. And also, I was the sensitive child, so it was kind of the weird one. So kind of vilified and othered, and also the lost child in the family. So this is what really made me who I was and caused me to internalize all that shame. I thought for all this, for most of my life, I thought it was an inner critic that was trying to keep me safe. But what I've realized is that this inner critic, for lots of people, definitely myself, and I think for everyone, it's just a question of degree. It's not just an inner critic. This is a shaming voice that actually uses all the tricks and tools of the narcissist. It gaslights you, it projects its faults on you, it moves the goalposts, gives the silence treatment, it builds you up and then cuts you down, it triangulates you. Oh, look at you and look at this other person, they're so successful and you're such a failure. That's triangulation. And it can also become super malignant. So
Mhm.
it can also metastasize into this malignant voice that's like, oh, you might as well not be here. There's no point in you being here. This ticks every single box of the narcissist. So it's not just an inner critic that's trying to keep us safe. This is a narcissist that I've internalized and that's not trying to look out for me, not trying to keep me safe. It's actually trying to destroy me. So once I realized that, had that awareness, I started to take my power back from this shaming voice, realizing that this inner critic is not, it's just like the narcissist, it like smashes you, beats you in the face, and then says, oh, I'm doing it for your own good, you know?
Mhm.
So once I recognized that, I was able to just start, I created a system for taking your power back from this inner narcissist character, recognizing that it's not you, that doesn't have your best interest at heart.
Mhm.
And that's what I help women do now. I help people really separate themselves and take back this power from this parasite, this kind of entity, if you like,
Yeah.
that basically we're gaslit into believing it's friendly or that it's wounded, but it's actually a parasite that sucks us dry and that doesn't care about us at all. And we're
Yeah.
told to take this thing to therapy and feel the shame. And, I tried that for a long time. And guess what? Shame is not a normal emotion. It's not like grief or sadness. Underneath grief or sadness, you come to something else. But underneath shame, guess what? More shame. Underneath that shame, guess what? More shame. It's a bottomless pit of shame. Shame is not a normal emotion. It's just been normalized in our highly dysfunctional and narcissistic culture. And recognizing that has really helped me take back my power from this shame demon, if you like, this entity that's kind of been controlling and dominating my life from a very young age. And now I know how to stop this thing in its tracks, and I teach other women to do the same thing.
Mhm. I've never heard it said this way before, for one thing, but I think it would be hard to learn how to separate that because it is coming from inside you. You
Yeah,
know, it's like, well, that's me talking. No, it's not you talking. It's this other
no,
voice.
no. It's like
So,
the call is coming from inside the house, but it's
oh
not
yeah,
you. It's not
yeah,
you. Just because it's coming from inside you doesn't mean that it's you. And I think that's the danger when we start thinking that it's you, we start treating it like a friend. Oh, it's looking out for you. It's like a mother, but it's not. If you look at everything that it does, it's about serving itself. It's not about serving you. And just it's really interesting because The narcissist outside, the external narcissist, if you like, we're taught to treat that in a totally different way to this narcissistic voice that we've internalized. With the narcissist outside, we're told to go no contact, don't engage, don't defend yourself, don't justify. But with the narcissist inside, we're taught to take it to therapy and have cucumber sandwiches and feel its wounds. But you know what? If you have a parasite living inside you, and this is what this narcissist is, it like sucks, it's like a light bulb. It has zero power without you. It gets narcissistic supply from you. So it
Mhm.
gets you to react, it gets you to perform, and it grows and it expands and it gets bigger and it gets stronger. And that's what we do every time we perform for it, or every time we try to defend and justify ourselves against it. We give it more power, just like the narcissist outside in the world. So to take back our power, we recognize that it's not us. And just like the light bulb, just like the parasite, it's sucking us. Once we cut off that supply, it's got nothing.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. You have all the power there, but we've been gaslit to believe that it's our friend or that it's part of us. And it absolutely is not. Shame is not something, shame is the foundation of our culture, right? Because shame is a cultural implant, particularly from Christianity. Because, Jesus, for example, he didn't teach shaming. But if you look at the Catholic Church and Christian churches, and they all utilize shame. And when you look at shame, it's always used to control people. And often it's camouflaged as care. Oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do what you want. Oh, it's because I love you, punch you in the face and then tell you it's because I care about you. It's absolute gaslighting. And shame is so normalized in our culture. We use it with our kids, we use it everywhere. It's in social media, it's normalized, it's in the air that we breathe. So we all internalize it and then we use it against ourselves. And the thing with shame is that from a young age, shame is kind of like a shield and a sword. So we use it as a sword. We shame people that hurt us. And we also internalize this shame. This is what I did as a little girl. You internalize all this shame. Oh, I'm bad. I'm not good enough because you think I'll beat them to the punch. If I shame myself
Mhm.
first, then nobody else can shame me. And that's what so many women have done. And that's why so many women are so disempowered and lost. It's because we've internalized this shame and told that it's us and told to sit down and feel this shame. And that's absolutely the wrong approach to take with the narcissist, with the shaming voice outside, and also this shaming voice that we've internalized. It's all part of the same narcissistic system of control that's everywhere in our culture.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So much there, Emma. So what comes up for me to ask is if someone out there listening is thinking they might be in this situation, how would they know for sure? Do you help them kind of figure that out?
Well, yeah, if you have this voice that's shaming you constantly, and I mean, a lot of spiritual teachers are asked this question. How do I know the difference between my higher wisdom, my inner voice, and my, the inner critic, as it's called?
Hmm.
Is it shaming you? It's that simple. If the voice is shaming you, if the energy is making you feel shame, it's sometimes not a voice, it's sometimes a feeling that takes over your body, Kim. It's like, I don't know if you ever had a shame attack, but it like takes over your body. It makes you shrink. It makes you get hot. Like this is why so many people turn red when they're embarrassed. Embarrassment is shame. It hijacks your body. It takes you over. It takes us out of empathy and connection. And that's what it is. Is it shaming you? And if you have this shaming voice and it's actually stopping you from doing things in your life that you want to do, and I believe that everyone has this, particularly in Western culture, but a lot of people are disconnected to it. Women are a bit more emotionally connected. So this is why we women experience more imposter syndrome and stuff like that than men, because we're a bit more emotionally open. We feel this shame more. But that doesn't mean this shame isn't working for men as well. They're more disconnected from it. If you look at the hustle culture, for example, this masculine thing, you got to fight, you got to prove, you got to be enough. It's all shaming. And so many things in our culture are built on this foundation, this ecosystem of shame. And we're also told in therapy speak and the common wisdom that you need a little bit of shame to be good human, to know you're not God. There's a thing called toxic shame, and there's
Hmm.
also a thing called healthy shame. And we're told you need a little bit of shame to know your place, to be a good girl, to not get too big for your boots, to not be a psychopath, as some Brene Brown actually says that. She says that if you don't experience some shame, then you're a psychopath. But I really contest that because shame does not make you more connected or empathic. Shame actually shuts down your ability to empathize and connect with other people. But shame has been so normalized in our culture that all of these people, for all their well-meaning, they're talking from inside the cage. They're teaching us how to polish this shame cage from the inside rather than open the freaking door and step outside.
Mhm. Ladies, you know I believe midlife is not the end of anything. It's the beginning of everything. That's why I created the Courage and Confidence Hour, a monthly space just for us to connect, share, and shine. Here's what you can expect during this 3-month program. Each month, we'll gather on Zoom for an uplifting, heart centered hour that helps you quiet self doubt, find your voice, and build the kind of confidence that ripples into every area of your life. You'll leave each session feeling lighter, braver, and more energized to take on your next chapter. And the best part? You don't have to do it alone. You'll be surrounded by women who truly get it, who lift you up and remind you that you're not behind, you're right on time. We're kicking things off this October with a special beta launch at an introductory price, and I'd love for you to be a part of this founding circle. If you're ready to feel more connected, courageous, and confident in your everyday life, this is your invitation. Just click the link in the show notes to sign up and join us. I love that. What a great statement. I've read this in your information about visibility and how the shame and the visibility are connected. Part of my own process actually is I'm afraid to be visible. I was afraid to be visible. Now I'm not. I'm working on that. But I think women as we go through life, we're told in some ways to not stand out, not, blend
Oh yeah.
in, take care of
Yes.
this, take care of that, don't draw attention to yourself. That's part of that whole process, isn't it? That shaming.
Absolutely. And that again, underneath it, you'll find shame. Underneath pretty much all the things. I come from a country that has a very deep problem with alcohol. And again, you can trace that back. The alcohol lets us shut down this shaming voice that we've so internalized, particularly in a culture like Ireland. So yeah, it does so many of these things, it all comes back to shame. And when we disconnect ourselves from the shame, so many problems start to resolve it themselves.
Hmm. So how do you help women do that? You say it's mostly women that you work with.
It is, but I mean, men are also affected by shame, like I said. And what I do is I teach them how to basically recognize this shaming entity, this shaming thing as a parasite, as not you, as not a wounded part of you, as something. I have a system. It's called BREAK. Like this is the acronym BREAK. So first thing, when the shame attack starts to happen or you start to experience that shame, you go for B, break the trance. Recognize that it's not your voice, that it's a spell, it's a pattern, it's a trance. So when you catch it, you interrupt it and recognize that it's a trance. It's like a magical spell we've all been put under to keep us small, to keep us like the wallflower, like you said, to keep us the good girl. And
Hmm.
women have been told that big time, more so than men. Then we go on to R, refuse to engage. So this means no therapizing, no discussing with it. Dr. Ramani, who teaches us how to deal with narcissists out there in the world, she has a really cool acronym called DEEP. Don't defend, don't engage, don't explain, and don't personalize. So when the shaming voice or the shame starts to appear, don't defend, don't engage, don't explain, don't personalize. Just say, not today, not today, it ain't happening, this is not mine. Then you go on to E, you want to expose the lie. So call out the shame-based programming and recognize that, like all shame, it's always about control. It might be disguised as care, but it's always about control. This is not my story. And speaking your truth really starts to disarm it. Then you come to A, which is anchoring it in your body. Because, like I said, when shame attacks, it takes you out of your body, out of your system. So you want to come back to your body, feel your breath, plant your feet, say your name, remind your nervous system that you're safe, that you're sovereign, that you're here. And then finally, K, kick it out, shake it out, stomp it out. This isn't mine. And really evict that spell from your body. And because shame is a ghost voice, it has nothing without you. Just like the narcissist outside, it sucks you, it gets its supply from you, and it's nothing without you. And this is the thing, it pretends to be this big bogey monster, and we believe everything that it says, but it has nothing without us, Kim. And this is the beautiful
Mhm.
thing. When you recognize that it has no power over you, it's like a shell. It's like a light bulb that just never gets turned on, that's totally disconnected. It has nothing over you. And that's what can happen once you start practicing this system.
Mhm. It's so powerful. Our family had gone through a situation when my daughter was with a narcissist, so outside narcissist, but
Yeah.
it's still a process. I mean, we're going on 2 years away from that now, and it's still like she's not 100%. So I would assume that you've got that narcissist living inside you. That must take some time to work through that and take these steps and be free of it, basically.
Well, yeah, because in narcissistic systems, we survive by internalizing those same systems within ourselves.
Hmm.
So this isn't about freeing herself from the narcissist outside. It's about freeing herself from this internalized shame that she's taken on from this relationship. And
Hmm.
also, I want to say one more thing. It's not just the narcissist that she met, it's the whole world is kind of, especially Western society, is built on these narcissistic systems. I
Hmm.
mean, in narcissistic families, we have three roles. Well, we have more than three, but there's the scapegoat, there's the enabler, and then there's the kind of head of the family, the narcissist. And you can see these systems fractaled out everywhere, Kim. People are being scapegoated in corporations, in communities, not just in families, not just internally, everywhere, also in governments. You see these same roles playing out also in the international system. You see countries and people being scapegoated in order to, the golden child, because shame is so undigestible
Hmm.
that we look for a target. And with shame, we either internalize it and attack ourselves, or we find someone else to be the victim. And that's intergenerational trauma. We pass it down to the next person. So when people are experiencing problems after they've been with a narcissist, it's about this shame that they've internalized in order to survive the abuse.
Hmm.
And the cool thing is, when you take back your power from this internal narcissist, narcissists can't get a foot in.
Yeah.
Nobody can, you become unshameable because they need that hook. Like if I come up to you, Kim, and say, your blue shirt is so disgusting today, you're gonna think I'm crazy, right? You're gonna be like, wow, are you colorblind or what? And you're not gonna take that in because
Right.
you're not wearing a blue shirt today. But so, in order to experience shame, you need to have that narcissist inside you that has the little hook that says, "Oh my God, yeah, your nose is big. Yes, I'm fat." Whatever it is,
Hmm.
that voice needs to agree in order for you to experience shame. And I'll give you an example. I was talking to someone the other day, and they were talking about when they were a child and how they were, a little bit overweight as a child, and they were eating ice creams with their friends. And some guy came up to them and said, "You shouldn't be eating that ice cream. You're really fat. It'll make you overweight." And these girls, they just laughed at him. You know, this
Good.
is this is the power. And they could have experienced shame there. Lots of people would, because they didn't have that receptor. They didn't have that hook. And that's the power of unhooking yourself from this internal narcissist, because that's the real key. It's like a lock and a key. The narcissist outside, they look for this insecurity. They look for people who have that inner narcissist already installed, that's already
Hmm.
shaming the person. Otherwise, they got nothing. People are going to be like, yeah, whatever, take a
Hmm.
hike, try again tomorrow, find someone else. So
Yeah.
this is the real key for liberation from the narcissist outside. We need to liberate ourselves from this narcissist that we've internalized and is attacking ourselves.
Yeah. Do you see this as more of an issue as women get older? Maybe they're in their midlife and they're kind of realizing these things now, or what do you think is an age that women start realizing these things or asking for help?
Well, yeah, middle age, the old midlife crisis. Yeah, this is when people start, it gets really heavy, but it affects people of all ages. You see people with anxiety, with depression of all ages across the board. So this is not about age. I mean, in my case, I internalized the shame voice probably pre-verbal because from a very young age, I had this voice inside making me wrong, shaming me for everything. I couldn't do anything right. So, this is the root cause of all of the suffering. And it's not about age. But sometimes when women reach a certain age, they're like, right, I've had enough. I need to do something about it. And that's when they're ready to take some kind of action. And the beautiful thing about this is that you don't have to change anyone else. You can actually liberate yourself from this narcissist, and that removes the hook for anyone else to come along and shame you. You'll just laugh in their face, or you'll be like, my God, that crazy person, what's wrong with them?
Yeah. Yeah. Once
You become
again, we have,
unshameable. Yeah.
yeah, you look inside yourself and you find what you need and what you need to do. So you had mentioned your family and you grew up as the scapegoat of the family. Do you have a relationship with them now, or is that how is that now? Is that you become
Not at the
stronger?
moment. I'm very low to no contact
Okay.
because you need to remove yourself from the toxic field in order to heal from something. You
Yeah.
can't, like a plant or whatever, you can't, no matter how much love and water and light you give to a plant, it can't grow if the soil is toxic. You can't heal yourself while you're sitting there. So you need to create some space from that toxic system in order to heal from it.
I agree. I've been in situations like that where I've taken myself away from certain people that I need to do for myself. And
Yeah, exactly.
just,
And it's nothing about them. It's
nope.
about you.
Yeah.
And these toxic systems, when they lose their scapegoat, they start projecting. And I was talking to my sister, and I noticed that again, she was very angry, and she started scapegoating me again. But this is not something that this is just something that I realized myself. There's no point in saying this to people because they're never going to see or change it. You're never
Mhm.
going to change these people on the outside, but you can change yourself. You can remove the hook inside yourself, and then
Yeah.
they have nothing to get at.
Right. Right. And then maybe they'll see the changes in you and they'll decide to look inside themselves.
Maybe, but you're not
Maybe,
doing
maybe
it for
not.
them.
Right.
You're not doing it for them, you're doing it for yourself.
Emma, if people want to know more about this, where would they find you? How could they get in contact with you?
Well, the best way is I'm on social media, trauma.matrix. I also have a Substack that's Trauma Matrix, so you can find me there. And I also have a free gift for people. So if people are listening and they're thinking, wow, maybe this is ringing a few bells, I have a free gift for you guys. It's called Five Signs That It's Time to Break Up with Your Inner Narcissist. So if you're recognizing yourself and think you might have fallen in love with this narcissist character that lives rent-free inside your head, this is for you. You'll find it at tinyurl.com/, not today narc, NARC, not today narc. You'll find it there. And send me a DM, connect, because shame is not who you are. Shame is a cultural implant, and you can take back your power from it. It does nobody any good. That is the biggest lie that we've been taught, that shame is somehow helpful. It's never helpful. It's a complete lie.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Not today, Narc.
Yeah, not today, Narc.
All right. Well, Emma, before we say goodbye, is there any one last little lesson or message you want to give to our listeners?
I would say that it's your right to break up with this shame voice. And it's also your responsibility. If you get to be that lighthouse, that model for the next generation. You get to break this intergenerational curse of shame that women particularly have been carrying, because women collectively, we've been scapegoated in our culture. Women, oh, sexuality, dirty, ugly, we've all of this shame has been projected on us from men. So we're carrying that wound, and it's time that we drop it now. And otherwise, it gets passed on to the next generation. That's the way it works with unprocessed emotional trauma. It gets
Mhm.
passed on to the next generation. So you got to work on yourself in order to stop that from happening. You get to break that cycle, and you also model to people what it's like to live. I call it shamelessly. This shameless word has been, all other words in the English language, shame, any that end in LSS, means that you're free of the thing. But shameless is the exception. shameless people are behaving badly, they're behaving outrageously,
Mm,
because again, we've internalized this idea that you need a bit of shame in order to be good girl. It's a complete lie. Time to reclaim your shameless and live shamelessly. It's your right and it's your duty, and you get to be that model of what that looks like to other people. And there are very, very few people out there doing that.
definitely. Yeah. I love this message. I love this whole thing and this whole idea of the shame and what it really means to be shameless.
Reclaim your shameless. That's my message. That's the name of my group program. So
Yeah.
reclaim your shameless. This word has been hijacked. Living shamelessly is the way forward, not the way back.
Right. Love it. All right, Emma. Well, thank you for sharing that with our listeners, and thank you for what you're doing in the world to help women and men reclaim their lives and get rid of that inner narcissist. And hopefully, we'll talk to you again soon.
Right. Thanks so much, Kim. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Midlife with Courage podcast. If you liked what you heard, I would love it if you would leave a review, or even better, send a link of this episode to a friend. Until next time, take care of your beautiful self.